All right. So we're gonna do a breakdown of. Let's start with USDCHF. Okay, we'll start with USDCHF. So here in USDCHF, what I'm gonna do is the same thing that I do always. So what I'll basically do, I'll do a breakdown of maybe let's see 3 pairs, and then you'll take a look at how I did that breakdown, and then you try and do a breakdown of 3 pairs on your own, right? So this is USDCHF. This is on my weekly. So what I can see on the weekly is that we're from this impulse, and this could be just a correction, right? And then again, what I can see is that we're from this impulse, this big impulse here, and then this could be a correction. So what I'm going to do now here on my weekly, I'm just going to come and highlight my lowest low like that, and then I'll highlight my highest high. Okay, I'll highlight my highest high. And then if you remember, I said that whenever the market leaves this high, this point becomes a point of reference. Okay, it becomes a point of reference. So it means that we have this as a point of reference, this as a point of interest. So this was once a point of interest, but market broke through. So now the market is going there. Now we want to understand how is this market going there. So we're from this impulse, we expect that this market will be going there in a what? In a corrective manner. Okay. So this market will be going there in a correction like this. All right. So now you have a structure which is 1, 2, and then here we have 1, 2, and then here you're expecting maybe a third touch, right? So now it means that when you go down to your lower time frames, you'll be expecting that, okay, now that you have a structure like this, you're expecting a push to the upside, and then from there upside, this is then now the move, it can continue. All right, so we're going to go to the daily just to figure out what's happening on the daily time frame. All right, so here we are on the daily. So now here the daily, we want to understand what's happening right here. So now what we can see, let me just zoom in a bit. What we can see now, starting from where this impulse started, we have this impulse, we have this correction. We have this impulse, we have this correction. And then we have this impulse, right? So from this impulse, from this bigger impulse, we can say that we're expecting a correction which is more or similar to this one, right? Let me just get this. Okay, we're expecting a correction which is more or similar to this one, right? A correction more similar to this one that will correct this market all the way to the downside, and then we'll get that continuation pattern that we're looking for. And then after that, we'll get that impulse to the upside like this. Okay, then this will be giving us that 1, the 2, the 3, and then this will be the third touch, of which then we'll be willing to take this sell here all the way to the downside. So already on the daily you have this thrown up, you have this, so it means this now. Okay, let me just leave this there. I don't know. Yeah, it means that now you're just waiting for your move to give you that correction and an impulse to the upside, right? So when you go to the 4-hour, there we are on the 4-hour. Let me just take this out. And then here on the 4-hour, let me try to find how this move came to be. There we go. So this could be just the start of that correction that we're talking about, okay? So this correction if this market is to correct, right, you'll see it as an impulse, right, before it goes up, right? Something like this. We'll get something similar like this from this big impulse, because this impulse is like this. So we are most likely to get something similar like this before a move to the upside. So already now, if you go to the 1 hour, if you want to look for entry for this sell position here, if you go to the 1 hour, you can see here you have a structure already. Just gonna readjust that. Okay. So this is my 1, this is my 2, this is my 3. And then from the third touch, I have this double top kind of formation, right? So now, what is happening here? Just try to figure out this one. Okay, with the impulse, now we're having this sort of a correction which looks like a reversal, right? So there are two possibilities here. We might get the market go to the upside here before it goes down to give us this test, or we might have a market break here, give us a correction, and then give us this test, right? But this does not mean that the market will be bullish, right? But for the meantime, it doesn't mean that the market will be bearish, I mean, but in the meantime, this is what can happen. So we'll be waiting for this move. We'll be waiting for a move like this. To come here and then maybe give us that, right? So you can be able to forecast this by just doing multi-time frame analysis and combine it together with patterns and structures. So let me just do another pair. I've got New Zealand CAD here with me. I remove everything, go to the weekly. Okay, this is my weekly. This is my weekly. Then what I can see is my lowest low, my highest high, right? Then from here now, I want to understand, okay, fine. We have the lowest low, we have the highest high. Then from here, what happened to price? We have the impulse, and then price just started like trickling down here, right? Price started just like trickling down. So we don't have a clear, so we get something like this, right? We get something like this. Then let me just check something, impulse. Let me start here on this structure. Okay, so this is the structure. We have this structure here which was broken out of. Price broke out, impulse, and then give us this correction, then impulse, and then now give us this correction. So there's really no progress here with price, but price is just moving down correctively like this, right? Price is just moving down correctively like this. So we have the impulse, we have this correction we just started, the price moving down. So now we want to understand, okay, we have the 1, we have the 2, so we're waiting for the third touch, of which this third touch can be aligned with our bottom or the 90%, right? So now what we're going to do now, I'm just going to come here and also highlight the lowest low inside the structure. Then I'm going to go to the daily. So here I am on the daily. I'm just readjusting my trend lines so that they can align well with the structure. There we go. So in my head, I know that there's a possibility that this market can come and give me a third touch here before it continues going up, or if not, it can give me a double bottom here and then give me this correction and then go down before it continues going up. So now anything is possible with this market, but we just need to know what is happening now right here. So for us to understand what's happening right here, we're just going to go now and drop down a bit to the 4-hourly time frame. So here we are on the 4-hour time frame. Now, as you can see, we had this big impulse, and then now the market started trickling down. So this trickling down is giving us some sort of a correctional structure. Okay, can just clone this one. I think it's somewhere around here. Just wanna bring this one here. I just take this one here. There we go. There we go. That's the latest one. Okay. There we go. All right. So we have something like this now. So if I can go to the 1 hour, I'm just gonna readjust my stuff there on the 1 hour. Okay, so now I have this impulse and I have some sort of an inverse head and shoulder formation, which is possible to take this move to the upside, because as you can see, we have a descending channel, and then on this descending channel, we have the 1, we have the 2. There is a possibility that we might get a third touch, right? There's a possibility that we might get a third touch. There's a possibility that we might get a third touch before we go up, all right? So now from here, you can see it means that now when you come to the M15, you're just gonna check here, right? So now here on the M15, what you can do, you can highlight this as your low. And then now here, what you see is that we have this impulse correction. All right. So you can expect perhaps another impulse like that, right? And then knowing that this move here is still within structure and you are still waiting for either a double bottom, right, or a third touch to take this move to the upside. So if you get a third touch, this will be your entry here when you get this correction here, and then you take it to the upside. See, so that's some of multi time frame analysis, right? There we go. So that's multi-time frame analysis. If you include the patterns, right, including patterns. So what else can I add? Okay, these are the pairs that we're currently holding. This one played out already. Okay. So let's go take a quick look at this one, at this video, and then After that, you do 2 pairs and then send them through to the group, and then we'll take it from there.